fact, it is one of the things that we're working on now. When you apply in our system for building, first of all, it has to have that title deed. 2, you cannot be able to get a clearance to build unless your land rights are cleared. So majority of these buildings that he's saying maybe they have, I cannot be able to confirm or protect, because in any organization there must be 1 or 2 bad apples. Whether there are people out there who are protecting people who are doing illegal construction, I'm sure if I even dare to say that county government of Mombasa is surrounded and all my employees are angels, I will be in contempt. When people end up building, these are illegal constructions that were actually put up. One of the things that we are doing right now, and we are hoping to be able to sign this up before, I've told the team that because the contract for the revenue collection is finishing, I think, is it in November or thereabouts? And we've opted, let us just advertise. One of the things that we want to do is to also advertise on issues to do with illegal construction. So with today's technology, we get a company that can actually be able to give a digital mapping of Mombasa and actually pinpoint that at this particular point, there's construction going on, but it does not tally with whether we received confirmation by someone applying for actually building in that area. It's simple technology. They use satellite images, and they can be able to now. So that is one of the things we're doing to try and safeguard the accuracy of what we're after is up to a certain amount of meters. So that means unless you build a barbed wire fence is what might not be able to be caught, but more than that will definitely be caught. This is also now on terms of the building inspections and so forth. Allow me not to get into the nitty-gritties of this, but the issue of the valuation role is actually a valid query that has actually been raised by the auditor in the main audit report, not this one for the revenue. And this is a very old valuation role. Chair, we were taken to court by 6,000 cases. Yes. We were taken to court, there were 6,000 cases where we were taken to court. And the people raised many issues. A lot of issues were actually raised. And then when I got into office, what I did is I took precedence of a court ruling that was done. If I'm not mistaken, it was in Nakuru, where what we had to do was now listen to all those 6,000 cases. I formed the whole, there's a panel, is it the Land Valuation Court? Thank you, Senator. And then now it was even challenged again that the Valuation Court has to be validated by the Chief Justice. We got the Chief Justice to actually evaluate that Valuation Court itself. But the process is not as easy as a walk, especially in an urban area. And one of the major reasons, Chair, why this has been raised with a lot of objections is the issues that I raised earlier. When someone had a property 20 years ago and they actually sold that property 20 years ago, then there were many titles that were registered with the Ministry of Lands and the Registrar of Titles, but then those titles were not registered to us. So when people started seeing their names popping up, that why am I being told that I have land and I don't have land? These are some of the cases that were actually filed. So with that, one has to come before the other. And it is our view that with the digitization we want to do with the County Pension Fund, which we have already signed off with, it is our view that if we are able to do that, then it will be a win for Mombasa on this. Even the valuation will be faster, more efficient. In fact, the current Rating Act that was passed by this very House, if I'm not mistaken, talks about evaluation role has to be changed every 5 years. Every 5 years. There's also another issue that is there, which is, again, in relation to the valuation role. People have a tendency or a feeling that if you change the valuation role, then that means the amount of money that they will have to pay will be a very, very huge increase. Vis-a-vis, our argument is that you can always reduce the percentage paid on a value of a property. But this is public participation that can only be done once we have done the proper digitization of this. So the part where you talked about, which was being raised here, was this unclear property ownership is exactly that.
Okay, I think, Governor, you have explained sufficiently. Fortunately, you are the senator from Mombasa, Senator Faki, is also the chair of lands. And this question of valuation role is not just an accounting problem. It is a serious policy matter which perhaps the relevant departmental committee could perhaps do an inquiry, because every county that has come before us has cited challenges. Kiambu tried it, they were taken to court. Nairobi tried it. I don't know whether they've been taken to court. I cannot recall any county that has successfully updated their valuation role and used it for rating purposes. And Governor also cites challenges from the judiciary.
Those were overcome. We were able. It was actually someone who went to court and actually stated that you cannot have a situation where, by the way, Chair, there's something else. You know this issue of the valuation court as well. The previous valuation, the Rating Act, the previous one, before the one that was done by the Senate, talked about town clerks, that the town clerk is the one who's going to appoint all this. So they were overtaken by constitutional, the new constitutional dispensation that we currently are in. So with the new one that was put into place, then someone went to court and said that, you cannot have the executive being the judiciary as well. So then a ruling was made that the valuation court has to be gazetted and accepted by the Chief Justice, which we were able to overcome that process.
Okay. Senator Faki?
Chairman, the previous valuation court, valuation rating for the Rating Act, it had a valuation court within the provisions of the Act, where now the valuation court was being appointed by the town clerk, and then there were members also within that framework. But now with the new constitution, all matters dealing with land are supposed to be arbitrated by the Land and Environment Court. So the Chief Justice has to gazette somebody as now chair of the valuation court, just like the other tribunals that are available. And therefore, that's now the process of proceeding in evaluation. I'm yet to look at the current Rating Act, whether it has similar provisions in terms of evaluation role and so on and so forth. But yes, it has been a problem. Even Mombasa previously, before they implemented the current valuation role, the last valuation was done in 1991. That's the last time they did evaluation. And in 1991, after that, it was implemented, I think, in the late 1990s. Because after that, it underwent through the valuation court. People challenged the valuations because they said that in some instances, the municipal council was not offering any services. But the values were much higher than what was expected. So I think I'll take it up with my committee.
I think we have the right person in that committee. Yeah. We have the right person in that committee.
Maybe what we need to be clear about is what Senator Faki is saying. Are we using the 1991 role up to date? Or do you have a newer role?
By the way, I think there are some counties that don't even have a valuation role.
And if we even packed those challenges, there is the other element of enforcement. And as we have demonstrated here, your enforcement is weak because you have collected less than you collected in the prior year. thankfully, it remains as, you call them non-exchange transactions, receivables from non-exchange transactions that will be carried forward in subsequent years. Let me allow Senator Cherargei to go on record, and then we proceed.
Chair, thank you. I've been following online. My apologies for coming late. I was dealing with COG Chair in another committee over other matters of VCD. Cherargei Kiprotich is my name, Senator of the Republic of Kenya, representing the great people of Nandi. Chair, I am excited because it's miraculous that the county government of Mombasa has finally appeared before this committee. We have seen litany of postponement. My only question on the receiver of revenue governor, and you are the former chair, I think, of some audit committee in the National Assembly. I can see, Chair, the projection of Mombasa County was 6.9 billion, but you ended up collecting 4.8 billion. Through the chair, what is the major reason that is causing you to collect, missing a target of almost over 2 billion Kenya shillings? And finally, Chair, I have seen on the issue of valuation, and Governor, you need to be careful. You don't say some other counties. We are talking about Mombasa. I have seen there is a letter dated 14 April 2026 that you want to initiate valuation process. So my concern is, what are the budgetary allocation? Is it in your ADP and the annual development plan and the projection, and what is the budgetary allocation, so that this valuation process, and I'm happy your senator, who is a ranking member of the House through the chair, said something about rating. So how long does it take? Because from 91 to now, and I've seen CRA projection, which is putting you way beyond 10 billion if you maximize all your revenue streams. So how long are we looking at? So, Chair, my question is, why the missed target of almost 2 billion plus? And what is the length of this valuation process so that they maximize their revenue streams? Chair, I yield back.
I think you found us discussing exactly what you have asked in the first question, because we're going stream by stream to see where the underperformance was. And so perhaps to avoid giving, I don't want you to give a global answer, Order Governor. I don't want you to give a global answer. I want us to continue with the stream by stream analysis. On the valuation role, I think a lot has been said. We were almost giving the governor a deadline, but it is emerging that there are serious statutory and policy issues that the Senate needs to give guidance on. Because I don't know, Senator Cherargei, whether any county has come before us that has an updated valuation role.
I think, Chair, there are a number.
Which one?
Even your Vice Chair is aware. There are a number, unless I'll check my notes.
I know Bomet made some progress, the Assembly
Bomet
approved, but in terms of applying it to rating,
yes,
none of them.
Of course, because of the challenges of finance bill and challenges of that resistance. But Chair, there is a letter, and then what is the purpose of this letter that the governor has attached in, is not paginated? Governor, you are an organized man. What happened? This one is not paginated.
It is.
The one on this one, I can't see anything. It talks about the one on request to initiate valuation process.
Maybe can I be able to state and clarify on those?
Just deal with that. Okay. On the global question, I think we will go the stream by stream approach that we are taking.
Okay.
Chair, the Senator Cherargei raised an issue of a letter dated 2026. Anyone who is appointed by the governor or any has a time frame and a time limit. So this is to initiate finance, or actually asking. The letter that he's referring to is from finance going into an internal letter from finance going to the Department of Lands, telling them to initiate. The fact that the team that was there before, the valuation role that was there before, its time had already expired. I started by stating this, and I would have really hoped that that would have been here, but it is something that we can be able to avail, communication between ourselves and the Chief Justice, appointment letters, gazettement of that valuation role that was there. But when you're taken to court and then these cases are literally in thousands, my view is having looked at what were the major issues that were there on matters of the court cases that were being presented. You had a lot of people stating that you're putting me on a valuation role when actually this is my late father and he's no longer there, or this is something that I no longer own. So the only way that this can be done is through a proper digitization where we can be able to...
I think, Governor, leave it. You are repeating what you had stated. Will bring Senator Cherargei up to speed. Because
in fact, I wanted to ask you,
you had already put that on record.
Cherargei said
let's proceed. Okay. Let us proceed to the next stream.
Yeah, on similar vein, just with your indulgence, then why would you say submit a valuation report if there are those legal and policy challenges? Then is it frozen at that point?
No, I think we are the ones who have come to the conclusion that it is such a broad matter that if we put a specific governor on a specific deadline, they'll find that there are statutory issues, there are problems at the judiciary, some gazettement regulations that the judiciary is supposed to undertake. And this is a matter that we are now asking the Lands Committee to deal with substantively. Allow us to answer your first question, to go to the single business permit stream. Again, Governor, your budget was 967 million. You collected only 51%, 494 million. And compared to prior year, that was a drop of 105 million on single business permit. Can we first see the reason that your receiver of revenue gave?
Chair, may I read these reasons and also give you the other reasons that are also well known to me?
Yeah. Let's first read the reason.
Okay. The reasons is the revenue stream underperformed, possibly due to reduced business activity. Again, they've used the word possibly. They're not definitive in their...
And you agree with me that it's a problem?
I'm in agreement. Weak enforcement mechanisms or delays in permit renewals. Now, let me just explain, Chair, the true...
Proceed.
The county government of Mombasa signed a contract. We advertised. We realized we have a system. This system was actually developed by the World Bank. The system that was developed by the World Bank is very static by nature. Static in the sense that all someone has to do, and by the way, not saying that it was a bad system, it was an excellent system. It has served the county government of Mombasa for a long time, and it served Mombasa very, very well. But the thing is, it was dependent on someone doing a self-analysis that I'm analyzing myself, and I'm filling in the details, and I want to be able to get my SBP. Then what happens thereafter is we now have to have a situation where at the end of every year, someone does an auto-renewal. Then you have people who are now moving... going around and knocking on doors and saying that, where's your SPP, where's your SPP? This was good then. That are here, and that kind of mapping was meant to be updated on a regular basis. It was also meant to have the satellite cover as well to indicate all these areas that are there. We signed this contract, we advertised, but we had people who bid, and when did we? December 2024. The way this SPP operates in Mombasa it is not based on an annual financial year basis. It is based on a calendar year. That means your SPP expires by the end of December and you start paying by the end of January. So January, February, March, you start seeing an increase in revenue collection. Because of the change, because we signed this in December, because of the change in January, we saw a huge decline in January. However, it means that there was a spillover after June, because a lot of people ended up continuously paying. So you will now see a net effect of these figures having gone higher in the next financial year.
Governor, let's go back to the number. That does not explain a 105 million drop.
Are the ones that we see an increase on, and which is the particular months that we see a non-increase on. And you will realize that as much as for purposes of audit reporting, there was a drop here, you will realize that in the subsequent months, which of course means that it is now in the other financial year, there was an increase.
Chair.
Senator
Just on a procedural matter and in the interest of time, can I agree with you? Can the governor be specific? There was a drop of 105. Can he say maybe 10 stalls were closed, or some revenue officers did not collect? Or what is it? You know, I'm getting a lot of linguistics because numbers are very specific. Governor, you should tell us you are collecting 100 stalls, but because maybe you are building a new market and you demolish that, you need to build a new one. That is what caused the shortfall. Because I am really trying, Chair, to understand what caused this drop. If you can give us, then I'll be comfortable to understand this fall of over 2 billion plus. Because if you can explain those details, and they say the devil is in the details, can you tell us that shortfall in mathematical language?
And I think it's not unfair what Senator Cherargei is asking, because there's someone in the PFM Act called the Receiver of Revenue. The Receiver of Revenue, the job description comes from statute. It's not drafted by the County Public Service Board. It's in the Act and regulations. The Receiver of Revenue should be able to explain, not to speculate, that it was possibly due to A, B, C, D. And I'm surprised, Governor, that the explanation you have given around systems did not find its way in any of the formal reports of the Receiver of Revenue. And if indeed it was so, as we started from the onset, that if it was my business, if I was running a mafia of collecting rent from business people, and my enforcers tell me that it has dropped by 100 million, I must get an explanation. And I also believe that you have mapped Mombasa in terms of...
Actually, Chair, I want to give a put a disclaimer on that. We advertise for mapping. Maybe let me just explain it. I will not be here on record and mislead by saying that the business is shut down, because that is far from the truth.
Though that's the reason that we are having on the record here.
I'm repeating again, Chair, this is something that I will be handling with my team, because data from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, data from the tourism sector, data from the transport sector, all indications. In fact, I'm also proud to state that one of the things that this government was able to do was reverse on the issues of port services being leveled back into Mombasa. So it is not about businesses being shut down. We have to be realistic, and I'm now stating the way it is. I will not stand here or sit here under oath and state that, it is because business is done now. I'm explaining the way it is, Chair. I know it might be difficult to fathom without a breakdown of the true figures, but allow me, with a lot of humility, I can be able to present to the committee for you to be able to see. We had January, which was meant to be one of our highest months, had one of the lowest because of the transition into our hopeful new system that was actually meant to give us an increase because of the mapping. I also want to put a disclaimer as we sit right now here, because I know that I will come back here and you will ask me that question. I have tasked the team from finance, the receiver of revenue, the CC as well, that they need to put to task this company that was given this role of actually doing the mapping. Because the last time that I checked, I was being informed that they're and I've told them to give them whether it is a warning or whatever it is, because the whole idea was for purposes of increase of revenue.
But then you have a systems implementation that occasions a loss.
It did not occasion a loss, Chair. I want to now state it again. The system, there was a transition from an old system to the new system. The transition coincidentally happened at the month of December going into January. So the month of January, all those business pairs, there was a decrease because of the way the system was meant to be. By the time we started...
Let's allow the governor to explain, because it might be...
But the governor, the governor is double speak. He's saying there is no mapping. There was a transition for improvement of collection. I thought when you get a new system...
yesterday,
it's my concern as well, but let's allow him to finish the explanation.
Yesterday I had Senator Cherargei saying that he wishes he can speak in Kalenjin. I can speak Kalenjin, but unfortunately this is a house that was...
You are allowed if you want.
Governor, can you speak to the chair?
Thank you, Chair.
Okay.
I'm just stating the way it is, Chair. Is it easy for me to mislead? What was so difficult for me to come here and tell you that, biashara iliharibika, businesses went bad? But I'm just being very, very honest and truthful. And I've said with a lot of humility, allow me to give you that breakdown.
But through the chair, the governor, you are not giving us the real truth. There is absolute truth, the true truth. We are just asking why the shortfall. You are saying there was no mapping. Business was not shut. And then you come back and say business was doing bad. So who is the receiver of revenue through you, Chair? That can tell us, because under PMF, Chair, with your indulgence, there is an obligation. That is what we're asking, Governor. Because I thought as a governor you should be also worried that there is a shortfall.
I agree with
maybe it is the way I'm explaining it.
Just a minute, Governor. I agree with Senator Cherargei. Perhaps the tone might be a bit aggressive, but that's our concern, that when these numbers are not adding up, this is one of those areas where we only crucify the governor because he's a CEO. But this is a function where the role holder is defined in statute, and they must take responsibility. And when they're reporting, it cannot be that you have different sets of information from what the receiver has. In any case, if the renewal process was affected in January, then it would have recovered in February, March, April, May, June, because the financial year does not close in December. So I think that's where we are coming from. You are trying to explain something from the way you see it, but there seems to be somebody else who's a custodian of records who is not disclosing the real problem and giving us the wrong causes. I think we have discussed, we don't need to belabor it, but it's something that we need to improve on.
Well noted, Chair.
Yeah, otherwise people will say that you are collecting and pocketing if we do not have that.
People will wrongfully say.
And then, even in the next 10 minutes, even if you come down to market fees, again, market fees, there was a drop. Market fees, there was a drop. You only realized 13% of your target. And, earlier on we were talking about the agricultural producers, the Kongowea markets, which we shall not go back to. But what was the reason given by the receiver of revenue for the significant shortfall?
Market fee collection fell significantly short of the target. This may be attributed to a combination of underperformance, enforcement, temporary closure of markets due to structural upgrades, or health and safety issues, and possible revision of market policies affecting collection efficiency.
On this one, Governor, is it possible, because you have your markets, you know them, these ones all need to be mapped, and you know that market A, this is what we collected last year, this is what we collected this year, and this is the reason for that shortfall. I mean, as a business owner, you'd ask for that information, isn't it? And markets is emotive because it's small money from our people at the base of the pyramid. And I know those are the people who form the bedrock of your support. I know they're the members of your political party. I know that they're the members or they're the people who support you. If they have an inkling that whatever they are paying is not being accounted
does it
for.
mean members of ODM are only at the bottom? I thought they are also up.
Yeah, we are a mass, it's a mass movement.
So it's from bottom up.
Yes.
Okay.
So you see the sensitivity here, Governor, is that we wouldn't say that your explanation is sufficient. You would tell us in Kongowea we shut down, and therefore there was a drop. In Market B, there was some policy, and therefore there was a drop. Because you collected 59 million, but prior year you had collected 62 million. Is this also system related?
A difference of 3 million shillings. No, it is not system related at all. Chair, I will give you, first of all, with your indulgence, a market has a very emotive. To go and send people or auctioneers and say that you are removing people because they have not been able to pay for their market stalls is not something that anyone would, in their right senses, really want to be able to do. Did we have a challenge in being able to receive that extra 3 million from 5962 and we ended up collecting only 59? Yes.
Remember, it's 13% of your own target. That 59, it's 13%.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the target is always based on many factors, including the fact that what is the space that we have out there, what is the capacity that we can be able to do. There are two issues, Chair, that we want to be able to try and do. Again, this is futuristic. It will not be able to cure the fact that we were able to collect less last year. One of the things we tried to do when we got into office, and which has prompted us to do the second option that is there, we tried to find out who are the true owners. Who are the true owners of those stalls? Some of those stalls were given to individuals from the time of municipal. Figures and pieces of papers that have since gone missing. It is for you to actually be able to know who is the true owner of a stall here is as good as it's really as good as impossible. And
Chair, with your indulgence, I have a problem. Just with the indulgence.
Senator Cherage, what's the point of order?
Governor, it is the issue of governance and leadership, because you have been in office for the last 4 years. This is your third financial year. I thought if we were in year one when you took over, and I know you took over from a friendly county government, I thought these are basics that you should have done, because what you should be telling us, and I agree with you, is maybe you don't have enough revenue officers who can go out. The issue of management and structure, because you have receiver of revenue here, you have town managers, you have people who are in charge of those stalls. We are not saying you should be there personally, because that is not how the government works. It works by power delegation. So if you are telling us that if somebody was given a space in Kongoya market in 1960 to their grandfather, by the time you go and look for them, by the time that will be 2030. So, Chair, I think, Governor, just be truthful as you have said. What is the real problem? Is it poor governance by your town managers or the administrators you have who runs these market stalls? Or is it lack of revenue officers? Do you have a challenge with enforcement? And every Kenyan, I want to defend Kenyans. Every Kenyan know that they have obligation to pay. Even if this shortfall of 3 million, even if they are supporters, they know by the fact that I have stole XY, I must pay for the service of using this. Because they know if they don't through the HIV, they don't pay for that service, they will not get a service where you give them sanitary, water, electricity, and other factors. So what is the real challenge, Chair? Because from me, Chair, where I sit, and I wish the Senator of Mombasa would be listening to this, is the issue of governance and leadership. It is not even about collecting, because if you hear what, so does it mean the previous county government did absolutely nothing by ensuring that you have updated collection form of registered markets?
Okay, before you respond,
No, you might not want to touch your brother. It might give you some political problems in Mombasa.
Order,
But
Senator.
can you be truthful?
Order, Senator Chirarke.
With your indulgence, Chair.
Just a minute, Governor. I'll allow Governor to respond. Because of time,
Chair.
Senator Faki has another critical engagement,
Yes.
but he wanted to make a comment.
Yes.
But even us, we must wind down this meeting in the next 10 minutes maximum.
Chair, first of all, I want to say that Senator Gay is out of order for implying that the governor is not truthful. He has sworn to speak the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Agreed.
On the issue of markets, I'm aware that some markets have been closed. There's a market at Shikadabu on the road, which was closed because of poor, what we call poor uptake of the stalls. Yeah. There's another market which has been constructed in Chani, which has not been operationalized. It has been there. It was built by the late Ramadan Sef Kajembe when he was the area member of parliament, then subsequent takeover by the county government, but it has not been completed. It's just a matter of putting in people, painting and putting in people for people to work and maybe earn a living from that market. What I want to say is that maybe there are some weak supervision by the enforcement officers, and some of these things have to be acknowledged, because you know, as a governor, you cannot be everywhere. Maybe some of your people are letting you down in terms of market, but on the whole, Mombasa has seen maybe a good business and climate environment for the business community. So it cannot be explained why maybe the revenues are falling.
Actually, before you leave, because this perhaps would have been from me the last one, but then I also from the other members. Governor says the economy is not doing badly. Businesses are not shutting down, so that cannot be something that goes on record. You have also stated it as such. But then when you look at another indicator of growth in the economy, physical planning and development, that also reduced by 50 million. And we have not said that someone stole here, someone stole there. But those drops, which are explained broadly, give the suspicion that there could be a problem somewhere in terms of enforcement, in terms of collection, and not reporting. So
maybe the senator goes, what the senator has explained is what should have appeared in these explanations. That market A, B, and C were closed,
yeah,
and that could have necessitated or facilitated the reduction in revenue. You know, we are not specific in the way we answer these questions. And I think you need to sit down, your people who are writing these reports. Maybe they thought we don't read, but when you say there might have been change in policies that facilitated under collection, we want to know those policies, which those policies are, and how they affected the collection. Otherwise, these generic explanations really will not wash.
And
We read everything.
this is important because this is the money you get from the residents of Mombasa.
Right.
We sometimes focus on the money that comes from Nairobi, but the money that comes from the people of Mombasa is even more, I think it's even more painful. It's, when we say sweeter, it means it's sweet when you eat it. No, it's,
because the people are becoming more
it's more painful. It's more painful to collect it because it's an additional tax over and above what they've already paid at the national level. Now, I think we have demonstrated the problems here on your revenue reports, and you have also undertaken that you're going to have a conversation with your people. I think that conversation is urgent, and that conversation is important. We will make very specific recommendations. Right now, we are just doing a diagnosis. We are yet to give a prescription. So we will give very specific prescription on administrative action. And where we feel that the reasons adduced do not make sense, we might ask our friends from the ones with capacity, either the Auditor General or EACC, to go into those systems and confirm that the numbers being reported are truly the numbers that have been collected from the people of Mombasa.
Chair, with your
Senator
indulgence, Governor, I think you have had our concern that senators might be busy people what we read, and we are keen to detail. The clans, the normal look, most of these responses are generic, and I think your staff have let you down. Unless, maybe Governor, just for clarity, do you run a one-man show in the county government of Mombasa? Just note it somewhere so that I finish.
If I did, I can assure you that we will not be having any misreporting.
Then you should run one-man show so that we get the correct answers. Anyway, that is something you need to, and you are a leader. You need anybody who doesn't perform, show them the door. Mercies only will be shown in heaven, not in numbers. So my only concern, Chair, is can we have the governor on this receiver of revenue, because I'm dissatisfied and I'll be moving the committee with your indulgence. The governor should be given opportunity to go and relook, give us specific. For example, your senator has just said Shikadabu market because of challenges. We know Wananchi would want near the road, they want a strategic place, it was closed down. That is a valid reason. Even OAG will take it. The issue of maybe Chani, maybe it's not fully operational. Those are challenges that we need to be specific to alleviate our concern of this drop from projected 6.9 billion to 4.8 billion. If those details of market fees, and I'm surprised in physical planning and development, because the last time I was in Mombasa, Chair, there's a lot of development in Mombasa. And some of us even have interest. There is so many developments in Mombasa. So when I see there is a fall in physical planning and development,
you must declare your interest.
It's not pecuniary. It is development of Mombasa County.
Yeah, I think it's a fair observation.
It's a fair observation.
You go to Nyali, you can see.
Yeah, you can see.
An upsurge
I know,
of,
Chair, maybe
activity.
Nyali is your favorite sport. Maybe.
No, I can't.
I don't know why did you mention Nyali. So, Chair, I don't know what happens in Nyali. I only know Mombasa town. So, Chair, my only concern is when there is a drop in physical planning and development. If today I come to Mombasa and tell people we are not collecting money, they will be shocked because they are seeing buildings everywhere. There is affordable housing and many other things that these fees, unless you are waiving some of the national government projects, you can give us a reason. For example, under affordable housing program, maybe with your partnership with the national government, there are some fees that you waive or something. So, Chair, I think the explanation of shortfall of over 2 billion, missing the target, has not been addressed. And with your indulgence, I would move the committee that as we retreat to write our report, can we give time, Governor, to go and give us specific answers, and then we can come back and allow him to give us now the absolute truth. Thank you, Chair.
Can we shape our, like this as like the last question to the governor?
Yes.
Because of
time. You had ruled that we would finish at quarter past, and we're already there. But before you end, maybe let the governor tell us how they manage the hospital fees and the public health services fees, because in terms of comparison, there was a reduction in public health services fees from 1.1 billion to 49 million, but there's no comparison 2023-2024 for hospital fees. and yet you had 1.4 billion. Maybe we need to just get what happened.
More than willing,
so that you are able to
if
respond.
the senators want, because the beauty of a question is to get an answer. You might not be able to agree with me, but then that is the whole essence. But if we are going to interject each other, and Cherelge, you're right, I also chaired the Public Investments Committee, and I also had to one too many times put members in order that it is only right for some.
I think, Governor, that's sufficient.
This is what I was saying.
No.
Your information